If there's one thing you never want to do, it's piss off the Winx Club. When I was younger, one of the things that drew me to the show was the spectacle of the fights. I wasn't used to seeing magic fights of this caliber or style in animation, let alone in a show led by women protagonists. As such, today we're going to take a look at the best fights of the franchise and cry out for bloodshed. Because clearly, this is what staple people do. At least I think. Oh, this is YouTube. We cry out for bloodshed regularly. Before we begin, however, I do want to acknowledge that it's been a while. For the record, I wrote this script before I wrote my script for the Season 7 video, which if you haven't seen, you should also go watch. So, oops! I had a bit of a crisis recently, and though everything is thankfully okay now, I do want to let y'all know that there may be chances of long breaks between videos in the future. Along with that, I'm also working on the Season 6 rewrite, which you can learn more about by keeping up with my Instagram and community tab posts. If you want to support myself and the channel so I can, take more time working on videos for y'all, then you can pledge your support over on Patreon. And this is the big one. Check out my urban fantasy novel Diceneribus from the Ashes on Amazon and wherever else books are sold. Request it at your local bookstores or libraries. Pick it up if you enjoy it. Pick up other versions like the paperback or the hardcover. Tell your friends, the usual. Now without further ado, let the chaos begin. How to start a Winx movie. Colorful title sequence, accompanied by Elisa Rosselli, followed by dramatic build-up into an ominous castle, a transformation sequence, and a robot fight. Tell me what's more Winx than that. Admittedly, I'm not as fond of Secret of the Lost Kingdom as I used to be. I do respect its ambition in showcasing Rainbow's capabilities, but this movie often feels like it takes itself too seriously. Part of that's probably because neither English dub is doing the script any favors. But where I don't mind the darker, more serious tone are its fights, especially the opening fight. The Winx are here to find Hagen, the former blacksmith of the Company of Light, who's a bit of a reclusive madman who builds machines of death for funsies. So it only makes sense that he'd set up shop in the middle of a stormy desert and have systems set in place to keep out intruders, including a creepy little metal surveillance bird and a whole squadron of robotic murder knights. We get to see the Winx show off their powers in 3D animation for the first time, and honestly, I'm kind of impressed with how good this looks, especially for 2007. Aisha specifically owns this entire sequence with her Morphix lance. My one gripe is that Musa doesn't get to show off her powers as much as the others. Well, that, and also this movie showcasing a running pattern of invisible injuries. Like, I get it, this movie is for all ages, but it's hard to take Aisha getting slashed by swords seriously when it looks like they completely missed her. And the same thing happens to Musa later in the movie, so... I've dunked on the Season 4 premiere quite a bit. Check out my video ranking the season premieres if you want to see that. But the only part of that episode I've come back to again and again is that first encounter between the Winx and the Wizards of the Black Circle. The rest of the episode, along with the wonky puppet animation, makes it a bit more difficult to enjoy, but I do appreciate the idea behind this fight, namely that the Winx ain't the hot shit that they think they are. Here, the Winx find their magic useless against the Wizards. The fairy hunters are completely immune to fairy magic, allowing them to shrug off their spells with ease, while Ogron specifically is able to absorb that magic and throw it back at them. It's the first time in a long time that the Winx have felt truly helpless, and to see that in their Enchantix forms also reinforces how dangerous this new foe is. The reason this fight isn't higher on the list is because the fight itself needed a lot of work, and also it's trapped in an overall mediocre episode. I would have liked to see the Winx problem solving a bit more to at least try and hold their own against the Wizards, and I honestly still don't get why the professors and students aren't helping. That would just reinforce the Wizard's strength even more. Can you imagine the devastation of seeing Farragonda, who had previously held her own against Lord Darkar and Valtor, getting beaten by Ogron? Also, not a fan of Flora getting routinely injured for no reason. Like seriously, this girl is not a punching bag, knock it off. First she gets exploded by Clarice, and now she's damage control for Fate. And now this! Ooh, can't wait for Fate Season 2. Oh, that's gonna be fun to destroy. This fight deserved a better season, and is very much an exception to the rule of Season 5's boring fights riddled with generic energy beams. What makes this clash between the Winx and Trix so weirdly good is how the environment plays into the fight, which is surprisingly rare for this show. I really love how Stormy not only attacks Tekna and Brandon with the books, but also turns the books into a gargoyle? I mean, sure, why not? This is a magic fight after all, even if it's just a recolored ice dragon from the Christmas episode. And the way Aisha lures the dragon, gargoyle thing, whatever, to attack Darcy, then destroys it with one of the coolest versions of her Morphix net she's ever used, hell yes. I just really love the dynamics of this fight and how wacky it is. I really wish more fights in the show were handled this way. My only issues are how long it takes the Winx to transform at the start of the fight, the benching of Flora, and that skyfall. Ooh, cue Adele serenading us disappointedly. We have failed, Adele. Much like Lost Kingdom's opening fight, the battle between the Winx and the Trix sets the tone for magical adventure. It's far more lighthearted and feels like a general representation of the Winx and Trix's dynamic at this point. Winx have celebration, Trix show up to ruin everything, chaos ensues. And to make it even better, Bloom's not here to overpower the Trix. Granted, it is exhausting having the Winx go, yeah, Bloom would have helped us win this fight real quick, but that's more cause when they say it, they mean she's perfect and the best ever, and when I say it, I mean it as the writers taking my hot-headed little cinnamon roll and making her into someone she's not. I'm surprised there aren't more one-on-one fights like this. It is a bit strange, given Musa went from having a rivalry with Darcy in the first season to now with Stormy, but given how similar their powers are, it actually works pretty well here. Stormy's here looking for the Codex at Althea, and Musa's decided to handle things herself, while Bloom and Flora are having another misadventure over on Heraklion, and meanwhile all the other Winx are, I don't know, being gay and doing crime. What makes this fight so engaging, aside from Musa's kick-ass base boost spell, oh god, that's hard to say, is the use of the rain dance we saw earlier in this episode. And since Musa got to see Aisha doing the same rain dance, and hear how she learned it from the farmers on Andros while sneaking out of her palace, it serves as another reminder of Musa and Aisha's friendship and how it strengthens them both. Personally, I would love to see Musa and Aisha integrating their dancing into their magic more often. Sonic Wave for life! Magical adventure is really out here being better than it has any business being. I remember when I was little, this movie was like crack for me. As the final battle between the Winx and the Ancestral Witches, it's a great send-off to some of the most prominent villains of the franchise. It includes a relatively lighthearted fight with the Trix at the start, along with the Ancestral Witches doing their creepy possession thing to give us the Super Trix, which, ooh, they look like zombies. And I'm kind of here for it. I do wish the fight went on for longer, especially that bit where Bloom and Icy summon their dragons of fire and ice to clash. God, why is there not more of that? Season 1 had the best fights. We all know I'm right. Usually they have the best stakes given the Winx were just starting out, which meant our protagonists were usually going in at a disadvantage against the Trix. But on top of that, my god, those fights were brutal. The Magic City Brawl is for the history books in terms of animated fight choreography. It's all of the Winx against all of the Trix, with the Cloud Tower Witches and specialists around to boot. The ruthlessness of the Trix is immediately set by Stormy one-shotting Tekna with a goddamn lightning bolt to the face. Followed by Stella getting blown up by a car. And Flora also getting hit with a lightning bolt into a roof. Wow, this is some Powerpuff Girls type shit. So much collateral damage. Oh my god, where are the authorities? The point is, I'm here for the frantic, destructive energy of this fight, and I want more of it. Oh god, especially that bit where Stella goes in to save Tekna and Timmy. Oh, it's everything. And Bloom trying to save Musa because Darcy's about to, like, fucking crush her with, like, a dozen cars. Like, literally, like, about to use the cars to crush the shit out of Musa. What the fuck? Again, more chaotic Season 1 fights, this time with Bloom, at her lowest, having to fend off all of the tricks as they attack her home. I really miss these days before Bloom knew about her almighty dragon flame, because she gets to fight at the same general power level as the other Winx, and there's no excuse for her not dragon flaming the shit out of her enemies. And having the tricks use Mike and Vanessa as hostages really shows their ruthlessness and cruelty and raises the stakes for what's their final attempt to take Bloom's power. Another Season 1 fight. What a shock. The Winx work together to hold back the wannabe Yeti and its army of ice monsters, and we get some iconic moments, from Flora's Flowers of the Wind and plants that devour the enemy, to Musa's Sonic Blast, to Tekna's dozen counts of arson. It features some of the best teamwork and convergence magic we've seen from the show. On top of that, we also get Bloom coordinating the Winx's efforts to destroy the Yeti, having her be useful as a leader, even without her magic. Also, she beats monsters up with a stick, which is just objectively superior. We all know I'm right. More Season 1 fights, of course. This time, the first fight between the Winx and Trix in Magic City. We get to see the Winx show off their magic one by one, again showing that their base form ironically had the most visually compelling spells. Who would have thought? We also have Bloom's first fight in her Magic Winx form, where she's so proud of her ability to fly, and then she gets her ass kicked. It feels triumphant, but also realistic in that Bloom is not gonna win just because she got a new form, because she has absolutely no idea how to use it. Still love Icy's comment, I think it's in the 4Kids dub, that like a cute little outfit and tiara and a pair of wings aren't gonna save her.
Isn't that so cute? You got your fairy wings. Too bad your little outfit can't do your fighting for you.
And Lisa Ortiz just delivered. God, I miss Season 1. I need to talk about Season 1. We also have the Ice Snake fight in the Omega Dimension, with all of the Winx fighting together in their Enchantix forms for the first time. Absolutely love that Ring of Fairy Dust move, followed by Bloom's summoning of the Great Dragon. She needs to do that more often. I'm low-key a fan of the flirtiness going on between Flora and Anakin, as are many others, including Winx Decoded, and that gets shown off a bit in the mid-season finale of 4, with Flora playing a bit of a hide-and-seek game as she lures Anakin into a vine trap. And then we have the fight between the Winx and the Dark Guardian on Tir Nanog, including all of the individual monsters the Guardian turns into. Like the mermaids, the unicorn, and the centaur Stella absolutely has the hots for.
It captures its victims by luring them with visions or dreams. My planet's mermaids! The unicorn I dreamed of when I was little. Oh.
Stupid hoof. Stupid hoof.
Stupid hoof!
Horses are evil creatures, it's just known. Have you considered horse? Horses have 4 legs. When we're looking. Was there ever any doubt? This is still the best fight between the Winx and the Trix to date. And why wouldn't it be after so much build-up? Bloom still has yet to show off her powers in the same grand way she does here. It's the last time it ever felt like she was indeed wielding the power of the Dragon Flame. And some of these maneuvers, the whole attempted drowning followed by Bloom blasting the shit out of Icy, the casual summoning of the Great Dragon, it's everything. It's the ultimate clash of fire and ice. And the other Winx get to show off too, fighting against an empowered Darcy and Stormy. Seeing Musa deafening Darcy, or Flora knocking Darcy and Stormy off their feet, it's just so much fun seeing the girls kick so much ass. Let me tell you, that ending Psycho Clone, Shadow Whirlwind, whatever you want to call it, that lived rent-free in my head for like years. That honestly kicked off a weird fascination I had with like storms and tornadoes. Tornadoes specifically. God, I don't remember what show it was, but like it was on the Weather Channel and it was about like survivor stories about like the storms and tornadoes and hurricanes that they would live through. All of that's from Winx Club. If that didn't give me an education, I don't know what did. Winx Club is known for many things, but one thing that deserves more love are its fight scenes. At least the fight scenes from, the first few seasons. What a surprise. As the years have gone on, the fights have toned down, which does make sense. I assume parents aren't fond of characters being yeeted into buildings like it's 2004. But I do miss the creative manifestations of the girls' magic from the first few seasons, and I wish they did more with the environments that they fought in, like that one magic archive fight in season 5. Anyhow, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this from me, then be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications because YouTube hates creators. How many times do I have to say it? Also, please consider, if you're willing and able, pledging your support for myself and the channel over on Patreon, and checking out my urban fantasy novel, Distant Erebus from the Ashes, in the links below. I'm the Unicorn of War, and I'm too tired to come up with an outro. Just shoot me into a building for fun. Like, I'll be fine.